Now let us see what is called as directing. As we know, directing is nothing but it is a process where people are being guided how to do the work and how to accomplish the goals of the organization. So directing gives us the way how the work has to be done. So directing is a process whereby it is giving us the instruction how to do the work, or it also involves supervising the work, guiding the work, or trying to influence and inspire people so that these people who are indulged in the work will be doing it in a better way in order to accomplish the goals of the organization. So as far as the direction is concerned, it is more focusing on the action, what is to be done. And when we talk about the functions of management, we know planning, organizing, staffing, or coordinating or controlling. All these functions needs another work function called as directing. So this directing is a action phase, how it has to be done. All these functions are helping the management, but still directing is a phase where all these functions will be trying to put in action. That is why we call it as an action phase. And we know this as far as the management is concerned, where human force are involved. So direction is trying to do the action. So it is giving us the direction how to be done, or it addresses the action what is to be done. And it is in direction, it is giving us the instructions how it is. Now look at the meaning and definition. As we know, direction is consisting of the process and techniques, how it is to be done. So it is giving us instructions and making us certain operations that are to be originally planned. So directing, as referred by Marshall, states that directing is involving determining the course, how it has to be done, giving us the order and instruction, and providing some dynamic leadership. As far as the definition given by G.R. Terry is concerned, it is activating means and moving into action. So supplying stimulative power to the group. So when we talk about direction, it is giving us the stimulation, how it has to be done. And directing is the process and technique which is utilizing in order to give the instructions and in order to make the operations successful. That is how the operation has to be carried out. It is also trying to communicate what is to be done. That is what it is all about. Regarding the importance of direction is concerned, it is initiating actions. So we know it is initiating action is how it has to be done in the organization. So what are the actions are necessary in order to accomplish the goals? So how we have to carry it out. As we know, directing is a focus on action phase, how it has to be done. So it is trying to initiate the action. And while initiating the action, it has to look into the goals of the organization and goals of the individual. So it will be trying to eradicate some conflicts. If any conflicts is being arising between the goal setting of the individual and the organization, it tries to eradicate the conflicts which is arising between. So it is trying to direction. It is trying to engender, that is the employees sense of belongingness. So the employee has to feel, yes, this is my organization. When I accomplish the goal of my organization, my self-interest will be accomplished. My self-goal will be accomplished. So this is how it is trying to initiate an action in the mindset of the employees. Then regarding productivity, how it is trying to increase the productivity when goals are being set and we know how to attain the goals or how to achieve the goals. So the path is clear. So the route is clear and the roadmap tells us how to attain it. So directing gives us the roadmap how to attain it. In that way, it is trying to increase the productivity. So whenever there is a better leadership, it will have a better productivity. So we know how the route has to be done, how the program has been modeled so that we try to attain the goal in the path set. That is why it is called as increasing productivity. And it is focusing on trying to make more productivity more in the organization. Regarding the manpower or the human force is concerned, it is reading with supervision, motivation, leadership and communicating effectiveness. Regarding the supervision, as we know, we are trying to involve the human force. So whenever a human force is there, some supervision with respect to the unity of command, how the particular person has to act in the organization, how there is a need for trying to have the human relationship. This human relationship is we are trying to think about the people who are indulged. So there is a contact, face-to-face contact, even the use of technology. Then when we talk about the human force, we have to talk about the congenial relationship. As we know, the human force is the human capital. We call them as an intellectual capital. It is an asset to the organization. So when you talk about the supervision, we have to know about the unity of command. Regarding the motivational factor is concerned, every people needs motivation. So every people's mind is longing for motivation. And when you talk about motivation here, it is a positive motivation, where motivation can be both through monetary in form of cash benefits, or non-monetary, which can be in the form of welfare or all other benefits. So if there is a need, and these monetary or non-monetary factors will be motivating the people, and it is giving them the relationship. As we know, human force is a asset of the organization. So when there is a recognition and when there is a morale, the people will know how to achieve that will help for the smooth functioning of the organization and smooth path how to create a right motivation. That is much important. Regarding leadership, we know the directing is trying to bring in the talents of the supervisor. So we know the different types of leadership with respect to the videos which has been already posted by me in the YouTube. Please refer to the leadership and the different styles of leadership. So based on the nature of the supervisor or the personality of the supervisor, we can decide about the styles of leadership. So we know the bureaucratic, democratic, laissez-faire or free reign, or even we have that autocratic leadership. So these leaders, what they do is they try to develop the skill which is necessary for the particular organization. So based on the nature of the employees, what type of employees are there, based on the organizational climate, they can decide about the style which they have to adopt. We know all the styles will have some results. So we have to choose the apt leadership style in order to know the personality traits of the employees as well as the leaders. So this is how decided based on the subordinates. Who are our subordinates? What is our personality traits? What type of thing? That is the nature of the subordinates. The style, based on that we can choose on the situation. Here situation is the organization climate. So based on that we can decide about the leadership styles. And when we talk about this leadership, how it is directly connected with the directing is, it is giving us the orders and providing us orders, or it even gives us the counseling or mentoring system or guidance. All these are done through the leadership. And regarding the effectiveness of communication, we know because directing is trying to develop a free flow of communication. So when there is a free flow of communication, the information is passing on. So when the information is passing on, that information can be more effective, or even you call that as a more faster. So this faster communication will be there, and there is a better relationship. As we know, the subordinate and supervisor, they have the face-to-face contact. Even the utility of technology, how they are using the technology, even when there is a clarity of communication, that is more possible in case of directing. Regarding the achievement of goals, so as I told you, we have to think about the goals, how to achieve the goals of the organization. So by activating the workers, we can achieve the goals. So when we don't have this direction function, we cannot, the human force does not know how to do it, what to do it. So in direction, we are giving them the power, how to do it. We are showing them the way, we are giving them the order. Even sometimes we give them advice. sometimes we give them advice like guidance also. So we know it is giving us guidance. So in order to have that, so when we try to motivate the workers and we provide them better leadership to the employees, that it will give an impulse into the workers, so they bring in better goal accomplishment. So this is possible when there is no barriers in communication. It is trying to, we have to look into the confidence level of the employees. By building up the confidence level, we can even achieve this so the entire thing is based on the achievement of direction, which will give the organization goals to be achieved. So we have to find out what is the goals of the organization and match that with the goals of the individual. So whenever we have to bring in oneness in the minds of the employees. Then regarding the changes, as we know, changes are always constant. And when we talk about changes, whatever changes are happening in the organization, the employees should know about the change, why this change is happening. So how this change is better for the organization, how this change is bringing in some better possibility. So whenever there is a change, they should be able to adopt to the change, they should be able to accept to the change. So this adoption or accepting the change will help the employees to resist. So whenever change happens, they should know why this change. Okay, this change is going to bring in betterment, then they will try to accept. So that change has to be explained. So whenever that is there, that we have to necessarily accept, and we have to clarify the workers about the change. Regarding the stability and balance, we try to bring in morale and stability in the minds of the employees in order to stabilize the authority and responsibility relationship, and also to achieve the goals of the organization, that is with respect to the directing principle. And next one is the principles of directing. So whenever we talk about the principles of directing, we have to talk about the harmony of objectives. So as we know, the personal goals of the individual always should have harmony with the enterprise goals. So the main notion why employees are working is to fulfill their own needs. So these needs are purely dependent upon their goals. So this organization goals which also have an harmony with the objective of the individual goals. So when both the individual goals and the organization goals are integrated, then it is easy for directing, and we can have even effective directing. So this directing will also, as I told you, should bring in a sense of a foster of belongingness. Yes, this is my organization. The feel of my organization should also be there. Then regarding the unity of command, we know this unity of command is one supervisor, one boss. So that unity of command is much needed in an organization, because when we have a dual command over the subordinates, he doesn't know whom he should report to or whose order he should look to. So that will create a chaos and confusion in the mind of the employees. So you should always focus on. So directing, what it does is, it is insisting that the employee should always receive direction only from one supervisor. As we know, when you have a duality of command, as I told you, that will create a chaos and confusion, and he does not know. So that will create a frustration. So this is much needed, that there is a unity of command, so that the direction is given by. Then regarding this, as we know, the principle behind unity of command is only to have to analyze the characteristics of the subordinate who are working in them, so that supervisor will try to understand the competency level, the skill, the traits of the subordinates when we have a unity of command. So that is the point with respect to unity of command. Regarding direct supervision, so we should know that a supervisor should always have a direct control. That's what I told you, face-to-face contact. That is much there in case of direction. So the face-to-face communication process in case of supervision in regarding directing, it is direct supervision. So this will have a face-to-face communication, and even informal communication, sometimes informal relationship also is there, and that will give us some effectiveness. So this effect, that is the subordinates who are working should have the participation and has to have the access. See, there is a supervisor and I cannot contact the supervisor, means I cannot have any understanding. So we try to have informal relationship with the direct supervisor. Then regarding the democratic leadership, as we know, mostly direction will be always successful when the leader is democratic, because the leaders are sometimes sympathetic and also they are to the problems of the followers. So we need a participative management. So when we talk about leadership styles, we have to have democratic leadership, whereby a good direction will also have a participation. Yes, you are my subordinate, you can tell me what you want. So that is the participative management. And there is a need for a manager not to end with giving direction. He also has to give some work plan. So he has to follow through how it has been done, like feedback is necessary. Then they have to adopt a suitable technique. So we have in directing, they will choose the appropriate technique of direction, and this is done by the employees. And as I told you, the manager always do not look into the formal communication, so they can have a face-to-face contact or through informal relationship. So this informal relationship can be somewhat personal relationship. So there is more care and more direction to be done. And regarding effective communication, as we know, this directing is having a barrier-free communication, or you can even call it a hassle-free communication, because there is a free flow of communication. So the result will be high. And as we know, there is a transparency. When there is a proper communication, there will be transparency, and it will help for a better and a long way to go for the process of achievement of the directing principle. Then regarding exchange of information or interchange of information, this should not be a black coat of information. We know employers should also be having communication. They will be able to communicate the relevant information to employees. That is, what is the goal of the organization, policies, or the progress or accomplishment, or even the performance evaluation, how it is being run, and what are the growth prospects or career paths. All these are there. So this will be able to communicate it to their employees. So there cannot be any open secret. So all this information should be there. That is with respect to interchange and free exchange of ideas or information. Then effective leadership, as already discussed, direction is always focusing on how an effective leader can be made. So this leader can only be a person who is having some exemplary qualities. So he should be able to go along with, talk with, have an informal communication with. So you should try to observe the qualities. What are the qualities my subordinate has? So from the qualities, I should be able to tap his work in the organization. So it is like to bring down a climate where my employees feel good and they have to work in a proper way. So looking into the organizational climate. So this is how an effective leader has to work in directing. Then regarding the features of direction, as we know, it is an action phase, and we also talk about the instructional, that is a instructional supervisor nature. That is how the direction should not only be giving an instruction. He should not, a person that is a supervisor cannot be only a dictator. So he should be a participator, and he should always look into the worker performance. He should be part of it, and whenever there is a need, he should be able to guide his employees or subordinates. He has to persuade him, also motivate him, counsel him, lead him, communicate with him. That is the instructional and supervisor nature of work, and all the actions are result oriented. So direction is, as we know, it is a functionary element which is trying to coordinate planning, staffing, or controlling, or organizing. So direction is giving us a result on what basis we are moving, what is the achievement, what is the path we are going, and what is the result over. That is what. So directing gives us a result of what we want to achieve, and it is not a the function end to function, it is a continuous function. So as we know, Once task is over, direction will not stop. It is a continuous function, and it is also there is a need for constant directing with respect to the subordinates, and it also has to control, lead all those factors, and it is a function which is persuasive in nature, because it is giving the subordinates the action, that is your focus, your level of in the organization structure, that is hierarchy in the organization structure. So that is with respect to hierarchical nature. How that is the hierarchical nature is how this initiative has been done in the top level, and how it is information is being flowed to the bottom level. So the hierarchy is giving us the relationship. Then the techniques of directing is concerned. The first one is consultative direction. So in consultative direction, the supervisor is having power, and he is having some decision skill, like independent decision skill. But without the subordinates help, or without consulting with the subordinate, he cannot decide or act. So there is a situation where the supervisor is trying to bringing some relationship with the subordinates, that is he consults with the subordinates, so that there is a coordination, so that will give a win-win situation. Then regarding the free rein direction, under this technique, what happens is the subordinates are given the power to decide independently. So the supervisor limits, only gives the instruction, yes, this is a work you have to do, you do it. So free rein, we know that is the direction is being given. So after that, it is the subordinate who has to do it. So the entire task, what is to be done, or the entire work, the guidance is being given by the supervisor. The subordinate will do the work as he feels based on his capability. So the subordinates are always accountable for their results. And regarding autocratic direction, here what is happening is supervisor is giving command to the subordinates, so the goals are set. But in this case, what happens is opinions or suggestions are not taken into consideration. So the director, the supervisor, what it does is, he is an autocratic, he gives the direction. This is how you have to do. Then regarding supervision, as we know, every work has to be supervised. So supervisor will give us the how it has to be done. So he gives us the work, how the work goals and the way to do it, and also gives a guidelines or guide mapping or instructions. So based on the supervisor only, the better work can be extracted. So this is much important, based on the quality of the supervisor. So he is a quality, like as we have discussed about the qualities. So his position, all this up there. And motivation, already discussed, it is a stimulating factor which is forcing like a desire, wishes or wants. So there is an impulse always in the human beings to achieve something. So this motivation can be monetary or non-monetary. Regarding leadership, leadership is the ability what a supervisor has to influence his subordinates. So you, in order to have a better leadership, you have to have some personal qualities, and he should be able to know how the objectives are framed, how there is an initiative action, and how to influence, that is needed. So this is based on the styles and intelligence or the communication skills what the leader possesses. Regarding communication, as we know, this is a work together, and there is a face-to-face contact, and there is a free flow of communication in order to understand the receiver. So the receiver should understand, the direction should always be effective, there is a communication, and also there should be a feedback. Only when we have a feedback, there can be a smooth functioning of a business. And regarding delegation, as we know, when we are giving some work to somebody, we have to delegate the accountability to subordinate. So without delegation, the organization cannot achieve anything. So when there is no delegation, then supervisor has to be overloaded. He will have some more work. So there is a concept called a specialization. So this will be giving the executive to utilize their productivity and how to do it. So the subordinate to whom the authority is delegated, as we know, is responsible and accountable for the work. Regarding orders, We should clearly specify and make the orders being followed by the subordinates. You should clearly define and understandable. The order should be always complete. It should not be misguiding, or it should not be it should be possibly attainable, and it always necessarily be in written form so that it will bring a more clarity, and we have to give it in a proper tone, and also the time within which it has to be done has to be prescribed. Then orientation is regarding new employees are being oriented, or if you have a continuous orientation, that is the person who are being there in the organization should know his responsibility, duties, the nature, the rights, the relationship, the hierarchy about the organization, that is the nature of organization, profile of the organization. All these factors are necessarily to be identified and to be oriented to the employees who are being part of the organization.